Welcome to the Speak Uneasy podcast. Please support my show by like, share, and subscribing to the show. You can find my videos on BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. Catch my live stream shows on the foxhole.app or pilled.net. Follow my social media on the speakuneasy.tv, pilled.net, Gab, Facebook, Instagram, and CloutHub. You can also financially support the show by donating to my PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, or visit my merchandise store or join my Subscribe Star. You can also financially support the show by donating gold pills via the foxhole.app or pilled.net. All links can be found on the description box. Thank you and welcome to the bar.
Welcome to the Speak Uneasy, a safe space where cancel culture does not exist because we are in a different prohibition era.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Speak Uneasy with your host, the bartender. Tonight's random read is going to come off of the book of Amos, chapter 5, verses 16 through 27. God will pass in judgment. Therefore the Lord, the God of hosts, the Lord saith us, wailing shall be in all streets, and they shall say in all the highways, Alas, alas! And they shall call the husbandmen to mourning, and such as are skillful of lamentation to wailing. And in all vineyards shall be wailing, for I will pass through thee, saith the Lord. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness, and not light. As if man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, or went into the house, and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness, and not light? Even very dark, and no brightness in it? I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy viols. But let judgment run down as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream. Have ye offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel? But ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch, and chewing your images, the star of your God, which ye made yourselves. Therefore will I cause you to go into captivity beyond Damascus, saith the Lord, whose name is the God of hosts. Once again, this random read comes from Amos chapter 5, verses 16 through 27. God will pass in judgment. Here's my take on this. Here's my little take on what I just read. So there are people out there who have not accepted Christ as their Savior. So when the day comes for judgment that's the time when people will start believing and start giving their life to Christ. But when that time comes, it's too late. It's too late. And part of the reason why I do this is because I encourage people to please have a relationship with Christ. Have that relationship. You have nothing to lose. First off, you really don't have anything to lose, and I'm not trying to force anything upon you. You have much to gain than anything to lose. Because if you haven't given yourself to Christ, your salvation is kind of lost already. You have a lot more to gain. And don't do it because of the gain. Do it because you want to. Do it because you're willing to do it. So that's my take on tonight's random read. Okay, now tonight's cocktail. I'm kind of excited about doing tonight's cocktail. This one is a Brazilian. This one is famous in Brazil. We will be making the caipirinha. Now, before I make the drink, here's a little history on the caipirinha. This one comes from gadventures.com. Article was written back in August 8th of 2016 by Greg Snell. Caipirinha, a Brazilian cocktail made with cachaça, lime or lemon juice, sugar, and crushed ice. It's no surprise that the most loved and certainly the most famous cocktail of Brazil is the mouth-wateringly refreshing caipirinha. But where does this drink come from? What are its origins? The caipirinha is a very simple cocktail with one main ingredient, cachaça. And it is with cachaça the story begins. Cachaça is a spirit distilled from fermented sugarcane juice. It can be consumed on its own, on the rocks, or as a rum substitute in many cocktails. The Cuba Libre, Mojito, Daiquiri, to name a few. Honestly, I have made Cuba Libre with, I prefer cachaça, and also my mojitos with cachaça. It just tastes more, I don't know. There's something about the cachaça that it makes it taste better. But anyways, cachaça is often confused with rum because both spirits are derived from sugarcane. Nevertheless, they are surprisingly different. Rum is generally made from molasses, a dark brown syrup byproduct created during the process of refining sugar. Cachaça, on the other hand, is made from the fresh pressed juice of sugarcane, called grape, or maybe they pronounce it gahape, I don't know, and contains nothing else. Cachaça undergoes a more pure refining process and is aged in vats of aromatic indigenous Brazilian wood. Ambuhana, Jequitaba, and Tapinhoa. Unlike rum, which is often aged in oak barrels. There are many different cachaças on the market, and especially so in Brazil. The choice can get somewhat overwhelming. Like any other spirit, there are some extraordinarily good options, and also some incredibly poor ones. I haven't even drank yet, and this thing, I can't pronounce these words, that will leave you with an outsized hangover and splitting headache. My suggestion is visiting a local spirits and wine store and asking with the shop owner for their recommendation. A caipirinha cocktail is surprisingly simple to prepare. The recipe is as follows. Lime slices smashed into a glass with 2 tablespoons of white sugar, ice cubes, and a shot of cachaça. Mix well and enjoy. Cachaça has been around in Brazil since the 1500s, but when was the caipirinha invented? Although there are many theories around how the drink came to be, one of which suggests that a variation of the drink was used to help cure the Spanish flu epidemic in the early 20th century. Oh man, what a great remedy, huh? The original recipe likely contained garlic, honey, lime, and other strong natural substances, a variation of which is still used to this day to help cure the common cold. Oh, cool, okay. And for the non medicinal version, the balance of sweetness and acidity in the cocktail, plus the contrast of cold against the Brazilian heat. Yes, well, we got heat here in Texas, so I can definitely use a caipirinha right now. Really set off the cocktail's flavor. Do you remember your first time you've tried a caipirinha? Or have you tried any of its cousins? The caipriosca, or simply the caipi. Saudi Boa Viagem. And that article was written by Greg Snell in October 8th of 2016 from gadventures.com. And now we are going to create this cocktail. Man, I'm so excited. So excited. This is going to be a very simple one to make. Very, very easy. Now, mind you that you can adjust how sweet or how tart you want your drink. This is already going to be a very sweet one because caipirinha cachaça rather, is it's a sweet spirit. It's very good. But I honestly like my rum drinks. I like my rum drinks sweet. I do. Because if I'm not drinking, if the cocktail I'm drinking is not sweet, it's going to be bold. Because I'm a Scotch guy. But I like cachaça. So let's start off with about 3/4 of an ounce of. You can use sugar, but right now I'm using simple syrup, and I'm using simple syrup that made from brown sugar. So I got about 3/4 ounce of simple syrup in there. Next thing we're gonna do is I've cut a lime in half. We're gonna put a lime in there. Now, this is the next step of the process. We're gonna take that lime and we're gonna mash it into the glass. We're gonna mash it. So right now I'm mashing the lime. I'm mashing the lime inside. Shoot. Be careful when you mash because this thing is gonna it's gonna spill. It's gonna splash all over the place. So you want to be careful you don't make a mess. Or if you do, make sure it's nowhere near equipment because your equipment will get screwed. So I'm kind of taking a risk here by doing this, right by my microphone and my computer. So I'm just mashing this thing up. You can hear that lime being muddled with my muddler. I'm muddling my lime right now. It also helps to because you want to get the oils out of the peel too, the lime peel. Okay, so I think I mashed that up as much as I could. Good enough. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add ice into my glass. And now for the adding of the cachaça, we are going to go to about 2 ounces of cachaça. Let me just wipe the table down, wipe the bottle down. I know there's some dead air in between, but I just want to be careful with this, you know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and give this a stir. And now for the moment of truth. The taste. Oh man, I can smell this thing already. The kushasa that I'm using tonight, before I even take a sip, is a Leblon kushasa. Leblon. Man, I gotta get me another. There's another particular brand that I like, because it has a banana smell to it. This one is a little bit stronger, but nonetheless, we're gonna try it out. So here we go. Salute. Ooh, that is so sweet. That is so sweet. This thing's like a dessert. It's like candy. Mm. It's good, but it's very sweet. What I should have done was add more lime to that. Matter of fact, I have another part. I have some more lime left. So let me add that onto it. Maybe it'll make a difference here. Now, since I've already poured the thing, I'm not gonna muddle this lime in there. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to squeeze the juices out of the lime, and then I'm gonna throw this lime in there for the garnish. That's one thing. You don't want to throw away the limes after you've muddled it. You just leave it in there as your garnish. So I'm tweaking this drink just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna stir again. All right, take two. Okay, that's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. It's not as sweet. The tanginess of the lime balanced it out, and it's a good drink to have when it's a freaking hot day. So here's to the kushasa. Salute. And here we go on to the show. So for today's first article of review is going to come off of Breitbart.com. Article was written by Thomas D. Williams on September 6th, which is today. Article reads, Texas bishop celebrates every life saved by heartbeat law. The Texas Catholic bishops have praised the Supreme Court's decision not to block the state's Heartbeat Act, asserting that abortion is always the violent taking of innocent human life. For the first time since Roe v. Wade, the U.S. Supreme Court has allowed a profile law to remain while litigation proceeds in lower courts. The bishops declare in their September 3rd statement, "We celebrate every life saved by this legislation." Abortion is a human rights issue. The most fundamental human right is that right to life. The statement reads, Abortion is not health care. Abortion is not freedom. Abortion does not help women. Abortion is never the answer. It is always the violent taking of innocent human life, they add. The bishops insist that just because the killing of another person takes place within the body of a woman, it is no less a matter of basic justice, just as when someone is killed within the privacy of a home or in a public venue. The prelates also decry the disturbing attempts to dehumanize the unborn by refusing to acknowledge the unborn baby's heartbeat as a real thing. Oh, it's definitely a real thing. Preferring to call it embryonic cardiac, my goodness, activity, or even electrically induced flickering of embryonic tissue. Texas has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in programs for pregnant moms and families through the abortion alternative program. The statehood noted. Hundreds of pregnancy and parenting support programs and adoption services in our state provide practical resources to women and families facing overwhelming circumstances. The bishops also call on the faithful to be prepared to personally come to the aid of pregnant mothers, especially those in difficult situations. Pregnant and parenting moms in need Pregnant and parenting moms in need are in our parishes and our neighborhoods, they assert. Everyone in the parish should know where to refer a pregnant woman in need. For women and men suffering due to an abortion, there is hope and healing through ministries such as Project Rachel and Raphael's Refuge, they write. God's mercy is limitless and is for everyone. We remain committed to assisting in and praying for the conversion of our hearts and minds so all people will respect the dignity of the human person from conception to natural death, they conclude. Once again, this article comes from Breitbart.com, written by Thomas D. Williams, published September 6th of this year, which is today. Now, here's my take on this article. I am a pro-life guy. I am pro-life. But I am also pro-choice. But here's my spin on what I think pro-choice is. You have the choice to be responsible while having sex with somebody, right? That's a choice right there. You decide who's going to make you pregnant and when you get pregnant. So how about that choice? How about that pro-choice? The choice of responsibility. I understand there are some situations where women get raped. Sure, I understand that. But it's not the child's fault. It's not the child's fault that you got raped. That child that you are you have in your womb could possibly turn the whole world into something good. You could be a great leader one day. You'll never know. You'll never know. With right direction and a good base for family, that unborn child could potentially be a great person. It can also go the other way too, but you just don't know. Which I think it's fair enough to give every life a chance to live. Not only that, but they're defenseless. Like they can't decide what they can't decide themselves if they can live or die. Like somebody else is making that choice for them. So how about the choice of that child? I don't know. I'm very pro-life only because I have kids, and I've seen videos of abortions, and it's very heartbreaking to see a defenseless baby just being killed. It saddens me. But I think every life has a chance to live. Every life has a chance to live, no matter what. My stance on this is pretty. It's pretty obvious, or it's like I don't have I have an argument. The argument is for me is that I'm a firm believer in God and Christ. So naturally, I believe in life. That's where I stand as far as this issue goes. And interesting enough, the next article that I'll be reviewing after I go on break is it seems to fit only when it's the proper time to fit, at least for pro-choice people, because generally speaking, pro-choice people are liberals, and they believe in inclusivity, and they believe in identifying in whatever you feel like it. But when it comes to this issue, and I'm prefacing the next article, when it comes to this particular subject of between pro-life and pro-choice, it's only then that they feel that there's a difference between man and woman now, because women are the only one who can give birth to children, right? I mean, as far as I know, there's no male specimen out there who has given birth to a baby. Although taking big dumps sometimes can feel like it's giving birth. I just thought I'd throw that out there. I mean, I'm sorry for the visual, but I don't know, man. Just wanted to throw a little joke out there. But yeah, it's only in that situation where they believe that men and women are absolutely different biologically. And it's the thinking of liberalism just blows my mind sometimes. It just does. So that was a short review of this very short article, and I'm going to take a break right now, but when we get back, we'll probably review a couple more articles, as the next article that I'm going to review kind of mirrors this one on the other side, but not quite. It just shows the hypocrisy of how pro-choice people, generally speaking, who are liberals, can only use moments like this to determine that there are only two genders. So I'll see you after the break. And welcome back from the break. So the next article of review comes from thefederalist.com, written by Libby Emmons. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. This was published in September 3rd of this year. Article reads, when abortion access is at stake, suddenly the left remembers men and women are different. Only when it's convenient for them, right? For the left, men and women don't exist. Biology is a myth, and transgender persons are whatever they say they are, except for abortion access. Abortion activists who have been referring to mothers as birthing people, quotes, to women as, quote, people who menstruate. Well, isn't that part of the reason why they menstruate? Because of birthing reasons. It's just a thought. And to biological males who identify as transgender as women, quote, suddenly appeared to know that women actually are when laws opposing abortion went into effect in Texas. Women's rights activist Kara Dansky pointed this out on Twitter, and it's rather stunning to see. She noted that famed author J.K. Rowling was right when she commented, quote, people who menstruate, I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Womben, wimpund, woomud. What an idiot. But yet she has a big following because she wrote those stupid books. I think it's Harry Potter. I don't know. I don't follow that stuff. For this tweet, and others that identified women as adult human females, Rowling was roundly renounced, even by the movie stars that owe their success to her imagination. Dansky, who has blasted the Equality Act, which equates biological sex to gender identity, provided a list of articles that have not even a little confusion about what a woman is in the context of abortion. Just reading this is, my mind is going in different, it's spinning. My head is spinning right now. It's spinning. There's just so many things here that makes my head spin. My mind works in a simple manner. It cannot jump from one place to another, especially with this whole tennis game of males being female and women as people who just menstruate. I'm gonna keep reading. But this is playing like mental tennis with my head right now. Just a description of what you guys are listening to, because I'm trying to read this and I'm trying to understand, but there's just mental tennis going on right now, back and forth. The left's definition of women appears clear now. An article from NPR's Supreme Court reporter Nina Tottenberg titled "Texas Law That Bans Abortion Before Many Women Know They're Pregnant Takes Effect" makes clear that women are the ones who need more time to know they're pregnant. Yet NPR has had trouble in the past with the concept that there are scientific differences between males and females that affect sports, right? That's obvious to me. That I can grasp. That's a very simple concept that I can grasp. Off bills banning male athletes from participating in women's sports, NPR said. The often heated debates around these bills have centered on whether transgender women and girls have an unfair advantage over cisgender women, a term used for those who identify with the sex assigned to them at birth. My goodness, even we're giving pronouns to regular people now. I mean, whatever. Oh gosh, this is too confusing for me. This is spinning my, I don't know if I can keep going with this article because there's just so much back and forth here. It's just mental tug of war with me. I'll keep reading for my listeners' sake. The article says sex is assigned at birth, not an innate biological reality. What does that mean? I'm sorry. I'm being lost in this article. I'm going to keep reading, though. The New York Times noted that fetal heartbeat activity starts at around 6 weeks before many women are even aware that they are pregnant. The Times appears here to know that women are the ones who get pregnant, and that the word for persons who can get pregnant is women. Oh, that's obvious, isn't it? That's freaking obvious, isn't it? Yet in 2019, the Times wrote that the current debates over trans women bring us back to the question of what set a core experiences supposedly make someone who was assigned female at birth a real see, just reading that sentence, no. You're either man or you're woman, right? It's if you're confused about what you are, then you got issues. You have issues in your brain. There's something mentally going on in there. Because, for one, men don't menstruate. Men cannot bear babies. So that's just common sense to me. I'm a very simplistic thinker. I try to dumb things down to what I can grasp. And this article is just a challenge for me right now because there's so much back and forth of identifying this to that. And This is a hard article for me to read. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is difficult. I'm trying to grasp what it's trying to tell me here. Maybe some of you out there can understand the article. I can't. There's a tug of war going on, a tennis match going on in my head, back and forth, back and forth. It is menstruation or childbirth? Nope. Lots of women don't experience those. What? Wait. Is it menstruation or childbirth? Nope. Lots of women don't experience those, either by fate or by choice. See, now we're playing freaking word games here. But apparently, in the face of removal of legal abortion, women means person who gets pregnant and often doesn't know until past 6 weeks. I don't know. Can you guys bear with me with this thing? Because this is next level stuff for me as far as thinking goes, because I'm programmed for only simple stuff, to digest simple stuff here, and this is just too much for me. NBC News quoted Planned Parenthood CEO Alex McGill Johnson saying, without relief starting tomorrow, 7 million Texas women of reproductive age will lose access to abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy. Johnson wrote in the New York Times in April that by privileging by privileging whiteness, we've contributed to America harming black women and other women of color. What the You see how they confuse you? Now I'm beginning to understand why their mind is so twisted, because they intertwine things that don't have any relation to another. Because I was beginning to talk about men and women and transgenders, but now we're bringing race here in the mix, and it's like they can't think. They can't think normally. And when we focus too narrowly on women's health, we have excluded trans and non-binary people. These words, man. Isn't Johnson excluding those same people when she says that only Texas women will lose access to abortion? The Washington Post also blasted the new Texas law, saying that it effectively eliminates the guarantee in Roe v. Wade and subsequent Supreme Court decisions that women have a right to end their pregnancies before viability, and that states may not impose undue burdens on that decision. However, in June, the Post opined that contemporary anti-trans messaging is still based on the same underlying assumptions that employers long used to justify firing transgender workers, that trans people are threatening and that trans women aren't women. These assumptions have always been unfounded, harmful, and false. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry, but there's just so much back and forth here for me. It's hard to follow. This is hard for me to follow. So if you guys can understand it, hey, kudos to you. You got a very, very complicated mind. But my mind, I'll just read. Yet the Post article on the Texas law doesn't mention the concern that either trans men or trans women won't have access to pregnancy ending procedures. Perhaps the Post understands that all people who could have an unwanted pregnancy fit under one word. Perhaps the word is woman. Dansky points out that the American Civil Liberties Union, which has said repeatedly it's a myth that sex is binary, identified those who are at risk of not legally being able to have abortions as women. In its filing with the Supreme Court, however, the ACLU did not mention their concerns that transgender people have abortion access. They were only concerned with access for women. Okay, so here's where the hypocrisy lies in. The ACLU appears to know that women are in the context of abortion law. In its petition to the Supreme Court for an emergency injunction on the Texas law, the ACLU wrote that the law violated nearly 50 years of the court's precedent, and it has refused to expedite consideration of the pending appeal, leaving the rights of Texas women. In posting their concerns about the law, the ACLU wrote that the impact of SB 8 will be especially hard on black women who disproportionately suffer the severe maternal mortality crisis in Texas and are 3 times more likely than white women to die during pregnancy or shortly after childbirth. It is undoubtedly true that the ACLU left-leaning media outlets and activists are clear on what the word woman means, and that its definition is adult human female. It is likely that these groups and journalists know that women are the only people who can get pregnant, and that anyone who can get pregnant is a woman. The fight to stop restrictions on abortion proved that there is no question what the fundamental characteristics of female are, and that any ink spilled to the contrary is simply rhetorical. When it suits the left's interests, like I mentioned earlier, men and women don't exist. Biology is a myth, and transgender persons are whatever they say they are. But for an abortion, everyone knows what a woman is. Okay, what an article. I have to be honest. That article was so complicated for me to read, because it's not for the simple mind to read. I'm a simple mind. I'm a very simple thinker, very simplistic. It's either black or white, and I understand there are gray areas in between. I do understand that there could be that, but I can try to kind of decipher what I'm reading. But man, this went back and forth with intertwining genders and all this stuff, and all of a sudden you get the race thing going, and it's just it went from things that don't go together. But I was able to get through it. The point of me reading this was because of the last article that I read, right? About the abortion laws that passed here in the great state of Texas. I wanted to show the hypocrisy of the left. It's only when it fits their narrative. They want to believe that biology is a myth and you are whatever you are. But when it comes to this, when it comes to life bearing, like, that's very black and white, right? You're either pregnant or you're not. And it's only a woman who's able to do that. There is no man out there that has given birth. And no trans men, like women who become, that doesn't count, because you still have female organs. I don't know. You see how all this is made to confuse people? I think there's a more nefarious reason behind this. And it has nothing to do with race or gender. I think all this was a ploy to confuse people, because after reading this, it's confused the hell out of me. It was connecting things that didn't go together, like gender and race. How does gender, abortion, and then race? I don't know. So if you have a confused society, do you think a confused society can understand what the true problems are? No. it keeps them busy with stupidity. That's just my opinion. And if you fall in the category of trans or whatever, that's you. That's you. Okay, I don't agree with that, but that doesn't mean I hate you. It just means that that's not for my family and that's not for me. Now, what my kids decide to do when they get older is up to them, but it's my responsibility to set them on the path of and pass down my family traditions on to them to keep that going for their future generations as well. So, yeah, this article it was difficult. It was hard for me to read. Give me a random read, Lord, which is difficult to read, and it's more important for me to understand what a random read from the Bible is than to figure out the difference between a woman or a transgender woman. That's not important to me. But I just wanted to show the hypocrisy of only when it's convenient for liberals that certain things pan out. So, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. My mind is hurting right now. All right. We're going to hit up another article here. This one. Oh, okay. This one comes from one of my go-tos, libtards.news. And this one was published on September 2nd, and says by the news editors. I don't know who that is, but I'll read it nonetheless. Article reads, Illinois governor signs bill to indoctrinate kids with pro-abortion, pro-LGBT, sexual education. I have qualms about sex ed in school, but let me read this and I will share what my opinion is as far as sex ed in school is. On August 27th, Illinois Governor J.P. Pritzker, who's a Democrat, signed a pro-abortion, pro-LGBT sex ed bill, Senate Bill 818, that includes teaching students how to procure an abortion. Are you kidding me? Obtain transgender hormones and access HIV drugs. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Modernizing our sex education standards will help keep our children safe, claimed Pritzker, adding that the radical new sex ed curriculum will deliver the bright future of our kids. No, it won't. No. No. The bright future, according to the new curriculum, titled the National Sex Education Standards. Oh, so I guess this is going to be pushed throughout the whole country. National Sex Education Standards, huh? Okay. Includes teaching kindergartners about gender identity, telling third grade children about the role of hormone blockers on young people who identify as transgender, and informing sixth graders about pregnancy options such as abortion. Are you freaking kidding me, dude? These are children. These are kids. They cannot grasp such thinking at that time. They can't grasp that. Oh, there is something very nefarious going on here for sure. For sure. Setting up kids to be sex objects is what they're doing. The bill, which states that the curriculum may not promote any religious doctrine, will require teachers to give students information on how to access abortion clinics, seek out hormone drugs, and get a PrEP, a dangerous, often ineffective pill used to have unprotected sex without contracting HIV. Dude, see? This is certainly setting up kids to be sexual objects. Despite barring the invocation of religious doctrine, the bill states the new instructions are required to be free of bias against race, cultural background, and religion. The bill also prohibits bias against sexual behavior and HIV status. I don't think kids should be worried about that. Kids are kids, right? Oh my gosh, dude. Under the guise of requiring information to be medically accurate, the bill suggests that if any information is not in conformity with the pro-abortion, pro-LGBT, and HIV normalizing curriculum, it will be disallowed. There is nefarious things going on here. This has the devil's stamp of approval right here. It does. According to Breitbart, one of the curriculum's creators is the Sexuality Information and Education Council of the United States, which in 2015 partnered with Planned Parenthood and LGBTQ activists to come up with sex education guidelines and attempt to have them proliferated nationwide. So I guess Illinois is going to be the test dummy here. The CICUS, which is that organization I just mentioned, website lists the organization's most recent legislative effort, the Real Education and Access for Healthy Youth Act, that has the stated goal of increasing access to sexual and reproductive health care for children. Illinois youth will now receive inclusive personal health, safety, and sex education without shame and stigma, stated Planned Parenthood in a tweet praising the bill. Of course Planned Parenthood is going to praise that. Jeez, man. Expressing gratitude for the increase in sexual information being given to children, State Representative Maurice West, Democrat from Rockford, said, "I want to thank Governor Pritzker and my colleagues in the General Assembly for their support in passing this important legislation." Important to who? Sex predators? That's exactly what it's prepping them up for. What's the next? Let me finish this and then I'll discuss it afterwards, because this is pissing me off. This is beginning to piss me off. Get your kids out of schools, rapidly take them over, but do not accept the public school systems. Texas Congressman Chip Roy, Republican, tweeted in opposition to the bill. The bill is not age appropriate. I agree. But even that, it shouldn't even be so. It is sexually charged. It sure is, isn't it? Said Republican State Rep Tony McCombie. Monica Klein, a former Planned Parenthood employee who left her position to advocate for pro-life causes, also expressed disgust with the bill, right? By looking at the standards and resources the National Sex Education Standards provide, states who encourage adoption of this content are advocating for the abuse of our children. I agree. By exposing our kids to obscene sexual notions and inappropriate ideas for their age. I so agree with that. Put simply, they are enticing and grooming our children for sexual activity, Klein told Breitbart. That's exactly what I said. They're making them sex objects. The approval of this bill is one of many instances of inappropriate sexual ideas being promulgated in American classrooms. In Tennessee, a preschool teacher and self-described professional, quote, professional pervert bragged on social media about her role in the indoctrination of young children with gender and sexual ideologies, while a Massachusetts middle school teacher had a harassment claim levied against her from a cross-dressing school librarian when she opposed sexually explicit and pornographic books being dispensed by the school's library. Okay. Oh, my blood is boiling. My blood is boiling. Let me explain something here. When my son went to high school, and he's gone through the public school system since kindergarten all the way till freshman year. I forgot what grade he was in high school. I think it may have been his sophomore year, maybe his junior year. I don't remember. But he came to me with this permission slip attending some sex education class. And I told him, no, you're not going to take that sex education class because learning about sex is going to come from like me. I am going to teach him about. I mean, come on. Let's be serious here, okay? I know some of you people are probably alluding to something else, but that's not where my mind is right now. Funny thought, but no, it's not. It's not what you think. And surprisingly, I was the only parent who did not have my kid attend that class. Everybody signed the thing saying it's okay for them to attend that. Now, that's just laziness on the part of those parents. And yes, I'm talking shit. Because my opinion is we have to guide our children in every aspect that's important in their life. And sex is a very important topic to discuss with your children. It's not up to the state or whatever school is out there. It's not their responsibility because it's not their kid. It's my responsibility to teach my son the effects of sex, like emotionally, like also, like there's more to sex than just sex itself, right? There's a lot of emotions that build up to that, to you having sex with someone. That could also be hormones too, because being a teenager, they're just all over the place with hormones, and even in your 20s, right? So my take on this is it's the parents' responsibility to teach their kids about sex. Even if it gets embarrassing to talk about it, it's something that's a must. If you really love your kids and you want to guide your kids in the right path to life and to treating other people with respect, whether it be a boy or a girl, and to teach them about love, because sex can be confusing to people, as it was confusing to me growing up. Like, I had no direction. When I was younger, I was looking for love, but when I was looking for love, I intertwined that with just having sex, and that confused me about things. And then when I kind of fell in love with somebody and had my heart smashed, I decided to myself as a youngster, a young man, saying, "Oh, well, if women are going to treat me that way, then I'm going to treat them the same way." And then that's where the promiscuity came into play with me, because I got my heart smashed from a bad woman. But here I am in a marriage, a 22-year-old marriage, hopefully more years to come. And I have learned, and I am still learning about, what love and what sex is. Because let's face it, I'm a dude. I like women, but I love my wife. And I would never do anything to break that, because she has been there for me so many times. Even when I didn't want her around, she was there for me. So I owe her a great deal. I do, and a big chunk of why I'm still married is because of her. So I want to be able to guide my son and my daughter to, share, like, if they're going to have sex with somebody, share that experience with somebody who you really care about. But at the same time, just know that people may deceive you. People may just tell you things in order for you to feel good and just smash your heart. But that's something that they will learn as they grow. That's something that they will learn as they grow, as they go out and start their own families or whatever they do. So I honestly, this is very, like, there's something nefarious with this bill that they're passing in Illinois. It's sexualizing children for sure. It's setting up kids to become sexual objects, and nothing more than that. Like, there's more to life than just, I mean, how about teaching kids the basic stuff like respect, manners? I think we should put more focus on that first, becoming better human beings as opposed to being professionals about sex. Because this is what it sounds like. The basics. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Excuse me, please. I'm sorry, sir, ma'am, pardon me, excuse me. How about those things? How about we stress that on our kids first? This is so ass backwards, man. And I never thought in my lifetime that I would see things like this, but this is where we're at now. This is where we're at. The devil is working hard at destroying us. It is. The devil is working hard. There's a lot more other important things that we could be teaching our children than sexualizing them right now. They don't even know what they want to like, what toy to play with. They don't even know how to choose their own clothes, let alone we're going to let them choose what they feel like being that day. My 9-year-old daughter can't even match up her own clothes. We have to guide her in doing that. I don't know. Okay, well, I think I've said enough for today. These last two articles, it just blew my mind. I need to walk away from the microphone. I really do, because at least just to give myself a break from this discussion. And I'm glad that I only do this recorded content once every week. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do it more than just once a week now that I'm going to have more time in my hands. But if you want to catch me, I do live shows on the foxhole.app and pill.net. So come check my shows out, my live shows. Follow me on my social media. I'm on Gab. I'm on CloutHub, Facebook, Instagram. So come check me. I post when I'll be live. I also post my latest shows. So give me a follow there. And also down on the description box, if you look down, I have a merchandise store that you want to check out too. I am having a sale in my merchandise store. I think it's about 10% off or something like that. And the coupon code for that is drinks for 13. Drinks for the number 4, 13. And that's in remembrance of the 13 that fallen in Afghanistan. So once again, it's all capital letters. Drinks 413, all in one word. That's the discount coupon for the month. So you can also support my show by giving me donations through PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. And also, if you ever go to pill.net or foxhole.app, if you happen to catch my shows live, you can also donate there with gold pills. I would highly recommend that you guys check out the the websites of pill.net and foxhole.app, as I am not the only content creator there. There are many different kinds of channels. Pretty cool place. So come check it out. So, as I end every show, and believe me, this show is one to put to an end right away, as my brain is just thumping from the pain. Oh my goodness. Come check me out, guys. Seriously, come check me out on my live shows. It's a different kind of vibe, and you get to interact with me as well. So, as I put this article down to sleep tonight, and the other two articles as well, with that being said,
the bar is now closed.
I can't help but wonder if I'm under a spell. It's more than a passing notion. I've never fallen with such devotion. I can't help but wonder if it's only a dream. Am I naive or can I believe that things are really as they seem? Can anyone explain how to understand what's true? I know I just can't take it. Whenever I'm with you, I can't help but wonder if you wonder about me. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be. Can anyone explain it? How to understand what's true? I know I just can't take it. Whenever I'm with you, but wonder if you wonder about me. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder this might be, 'cause lately I can't help